Hi, this is Jessica from the Hood School of Acting, and the movie of the week is Full Metal Jacket.
Movie of the week.
Full Metal Jacket, a Stanley Kubrick film. It's starring Vincent D'Onofrio, Matthew Modine, and Lee Ermey. So, I want to talk a little bit about the actors and their process with this film. Let's start with Vincent D'Onofrio. Now, this was actually his very first film, which is so cool. He was in class with Matthew Modine, and I think he said he had been taking classes for a few years. And at the time, he was in a play, but he was working at Hard Rock Cafe. He said he was standing outside Hard Rock Cafe because he was a bouncer, which I was mentioning, I didn't know they had bouncers at Hard Rock Cafe, but either way. He said he was standing outside Hard Rock Cafe, and his buddy, Matthew Modine, who he hadn't seen in a while, walked by, and they just kind of went back and forth, what's going on? And Matthew said, actually, I'm in a Stanley Kubrick film right now, and we are filming the end of the film first. There's a character in the first half of the film that I think you'd be perfect for. He said, I'm gonna have Stanley reach out to you. So sure enough, Vincent got, he ended up getting an audition through this just because of Matthew. And from there, he said, it's not like nowadays where, you just get your self-tape set up with your iPhone. He said he had to rent this huge camera. He had to have 2 different people help him film, and he had to have someone hold the lights up. But he said he got the audition out and he felt pretty good about it. He heard back from Stanley, and Stanley said, I like you for this. Would you be willing to gain weight? And sure enough, he said, yeah, of course. And so he gained 30 pounds pretty quickly. He said eating corned beef and hash. And so he went to Stanley, and Stanley's like, it doesn't work for me. He said, you look like you could beat these guys up. I need you much more burly. So he ended up gaining 50 more pounds. He gained 80 pounds for this role, which is pretty outstanding. Now, there's something else that I wanted to share, which I found pretty interesting. In an interview, he had mentioned that if you've seen the film, there's this really great scene where he has no dialogue. He's sitting on the bleachers, and Stanley said, I want to get the shot of you where you're looking down at the camera, and he started to try to continue and say, and Vincent said, no need to talk any further. I know exactly what you're asking of me. He said, I watched The Shining. I watched Clockwork Orange. So he said, I already knew what he was looking for. I knew his style. So when he told me what he wanted, he said, I'd already seen this in so many other of his films, so I knew what to do. And I thought this was really interesting because as an actor, we should be studying the styles of the directors we hope to work with, right? And that's what he did, and he was instantly able to get there without any talk or direction. That's what we're all working towards, correct? Now, he also mentioned in an interview, he said, I owe my entire career of 50 plus films to Stanley Kubrick. And I agree with that, but I also agree his performance was so outstanding that it made him stand out, and that's also, so it's a mix of the two. It was a fantastic film, but also he brought his A game. Okay, next I want to talk about Lee Ermey, who is fantastic in this as well. Now, Lee was actually hired on as a technical advisor. So Lee had served 3 terms in the Vietnam War. He was drafted the first time, and then he volunteered the second too. And he was actually a drill sergeant. So he was hired on as a technical advisor, and when he got to set to work with all these actors and extras, he decided, I really want to be in this film. So he reached out to Stanley and said, I really want to be in this film. And Stanley said, oh, no, I already have a contracted actor in this role. We just want you to come in and kind of get these actors prepared. So he did something really, really, really smart. He said, you know what? I'm going to dress up in full gear, and I'm going to come in. He said he talked with each of the actors ahead of time, and he said, I'm going to say some unsavory things, just heads up, but I'm really going to do this. So he came in, like I said, dressed up fully in Army gear, and he ended up just improvising what he would have done. In what he said, I really wanted to get Stanley's attention. And he said, sure enough, after about 2 minutes of filming, he started to notice that the camera was no longer on the actors, the hired actors. It started following him. And he said, okay, I'm doing something right. So he continued to improvise throughout, and they sent the footage over to Stanley. And what happened? He said, okay, the contracted actor is going to get a different part, and we're hiring Lee. And he actually asked Lee to meet with him and help kind of rewrite the script a bit. That's a great way of putting yourself in front of the camera and, once again, really wanting something and making it happen, right? And he is amazing in the film. I would highly, highly recommend watching it. Well, thanks for watching. I will see you next week. And also, this is something I do each week. I break down a movie in each class. So feel free to pop in for one of our free classes. The link is below. I'm looking forward to seeing you. Thanks.